is Leander Behrens, and this is Buckingham News, live at 5. The Students' Union last week decided to ask students how to spend the £6,000 surplus carried over from previous terms. Since Friday, more than 150 students have voted on a variety of suggestions via Facebook or through a polling website. One proposal in particular seems to have been misinterpreted and has suffered because of this. Lisa Collins has the story.
Voting is open until midnight on Friday the 7th on what is to be done with the £6,000. Students have been able to submit their own proposals to the SU and are able to vote through Facebook links of the Student Union's e-poll page or via email. Just to remind you, the student proposals are as follows. 1. An international fair which would celebrate the multiculturalism of the university for students and town residents. 2. A 17-seater minibus which would be for the Student Union and Sports Union to be transported in a professional and cost-effective manner. And lastly, the Afro-Caribbean hair salon, which is tailored specifically for the students of Afro-Caribbean descent.
The proposal that I submitted is basically a proposal for an international fair, and what it is it's a fair in which we would get all the students from all different nationalities to contribute. We would make different food stands where everybody could display their own national food, traditional food. We'd invite traditional dancers, and it'll basically be a great opportunity for people to share their culture and for others to learn.
Meanwhile, 2 business students proposed an Afro-Caribbean hair salon. They explained the core idea behind their proposal.
All we're here to do is to make life more easier for our students, because me as an Afro-Caribbean, I live in this country. We thought that it's a very good opportunity to give students like me this opportunity to make their life a bit easier.
We are integrating in our concept, in our business concept, employment for the students, like, being a receptionist, models for us as well. That will benefit everybody.
Many students were unaware that the hair salon proposal would be open to all students, and some felt that the information on the submissions had not been easily available. Finally, SU President-elect Matt Corey explained the ethos behind his minibus proposal.
Well, the basic proposal, as I put it forward, was that the sports union would put $6,000 towards a minivan, the SU would put $6,000, and the university itself would put $2,000 and then pay for the insurance and the maintenance as well. It would be owned by the university, obviously, because the total cost would go under the capital budget, but it would be a sports union and SU union minivan.
SU President Lape Famiyabu declined an interview, stating that the Students' Union ought to remain as an unbiased body. Whichever way the vote goes, it's certainly good to see some power in the hands of the ordinary students at the university. This is Lisa Collins for Buckingham News.
With the polls still open, Lisa's in the studio to give us the latest.
Thank you, Leandra. At this moment, there have been a grand total of 154 votes. There's 22 students voting for the Afro-Caribbean hair salon, a furthermore 22 students voting for the international fair, and finally 110 students voting for the minibus. If you haven't voted yet, it's open till midnight, so make sure you vote on the poll. Back to the studio.
The university's Model United Nations Society had their first debate of term this week at the Radcliffe Centre. The debate this time was on the legislation of prostitution in the context of human trafficking, with more than 40 students speaking for a variety of nations across the globe. Many of them were representing their home nation. Alexandra Shattock was there.
The University of Buckingham's Model United Nations Society follows the exact protocols of actual United Nations debates, and this time was no different. At the debate, each student that participated stood for a different country and got the opportunity to speak their mind on the issue. Rob Tyler, who stood for the USA, won the Best Delegate Award. The speaker for France won the Outstanding Delegate Award, and honourable mentions went to the delegates for Norway and Saudi Arabia. At the end of the debate, students had the chance to vote. The resolution that was passed decreed that individual nations would have the right to pass their own legislation on the legalisation of prostitution.
It's really nice to see, to be honest, that people are taking an interest. The debate itself was about the legalisation of prostitution, and it was a very heated one because each person's representing their own country's view, and so different countries have a different interest in it. and we found a sort of compromise with the resolution we passed, because the resolutions established that individual nations would be deciding whether they wanted prostitution to be legal or not, whilst also securing borders to prevent things like human trafficking.
This marks two successful Model United Nations debates, following the debate on the Gaza crisis at the end of last term. He's hoping that there will be many more debates with turnouts as impressive as this. This is Alexandra Shattuck, Buckingham News.
November is Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. The most common form of dementia, the gradual effects of Alzheimer's have a devastating effect on the sufferer and their families. In this special report, Jodie Hutchings went to meet Jenny Nelson, who has the disease that will become a fact of life for many in an aging population.
Have you ever gone shopping and forgotten what to buy, or walked into a room and forgotten why? It's frustrating, but for the 850,000 people in the UK suffering with dementia, that's everyday life. Dementia describes a set of symptoms including memory loss, mood changes, and problems with communication and reasoning. 60,000 deaths a year are linked to dementia. Jenny Nelson was diagnosed in 2013. She still lives on her own in a tea room in Winslow. She takes numerous pills every day to keep the symptoms at bay.
The first signs were about 18 months. It was tentative. It isn't mega. I give my son my paperwork. I don't do paperwork. I can make a cake, but I can't do paperwork. It's frightening. It is frightening. At the moment it is mild, but I do accept that it is going to get worse. Hopefully with the medication I've got, it is going to slow it down. And that's frightening. It is frightening.
As Alzheimer's is affecting more and more people, a dementia cafe in Buckingham has been set up every Tuesday to help people suffering with this disease. This is Jodie Hutchings for Buckingham News.
In other news, the Town Council has approved long-standing plans for a branch of the Santander Bank on campus following the closure of a branch on West Street.
Santander will be opening their branch hopefully in the middle of January. It will be in the building opposite Yeomanry House that we affectionately call the Beach Hut. We'll have ATMs both inside and outside the building, and it will also be open at specific hours to suit students.
Buckingham Town Council have decided to continue with plans for public lavatories in Cornwall's Meadow after Aylesbury Vale District Council denied permission.
The decision was to actually carry on and push ahead with the project and see where gravity took us, because surely, for heaven's sake, the District Council will realise that actually building toilets as soon as possible would be the best option.
No coursework, no exams. It sounds like a dream for most students, but is in fact the beginning of a serious boycott across the country. Lecturers at 69 institutions are taking part in the strike as they face the prospect of their pensions being changed to a career average. Here at Buckingham, however, the UK's only private university, it is business as usual. As universities across the UK increase A-level entry tariffs, getting a place at university has never been harder. But should A-levels be the only criterion for university entry? The elitist reputation of Oxbridge in particular has forced professors to question whether social background should be noted when considering applications. James Vecina has the story.
Oxbridge graduates consist of just 1% of the population, yet they make up 75% of our judges and 59% of the cabinets. Research has shown, however, that there is a 2,000 to 1 chance of a child entitled to free school meals of getting into one of these selective institutions. Professor at the University of Bolton, Patrick McGee, believes that the current system of personal statements is an opportunity for more advantaged students to showcase experiences that some can only dream of. Whilst taking more notice of an applicant's socio-economic status might reveal unfulfilled potential, some have seen such proposals as discriminative.
I don't want to be judged on my social class or parental income or whether I receive free school meals. In fact, I could have qualified for subsidised school meals, but my mother wouldn't have it.
But attempts have already been made to provide support for working class high achievers. Outreach Groups provided an additional 128 million in bursaries, but received little reception from applicants, raising the question of whether inherited feelings of inferiority or lack of ambition will allow Oxbridge to remain selective institutions.
You have to match a certain criteria before you get in. Like, you have to be either smart or rich or both before you can get in, but I don't think it's unachievable.
They don't have half as many working class, indeed regular people as they should have, despite ability, etc.
I think it's obviously extremely competitive because we're probably the best institutions in the world, but I think it's every student who is hardworking probably has a decent chance.
With the Higher Education Funding Council's announcement of reforms to the way universities are monitored in 2017, changes to the application process seem inevitable.
If I think a student has qualities that just haven't been brought out in some A-level exam, then I'll take a chance. I've never been proved wrong.
It remains to be seen whether a new watchdog for university standards can really break down centuries of class divides. This is James Vazina for Buckingham News.
Now over to sports with Yumna Najdi.
Thank you, Leandra. This week, an email was sent out by sports officer Stephen Ridley regarding the cancellations of Tuesdays and Thursdays casual football sessions. The sessions at Swamppool's AstroTurf were cancelled due to bad behavior. Olivia Marsden investigates whether the sessions will continue or be given the boot for good.
An email was sent out earlier this week informing students that the training sessions for the six-a-side football team on a Tuesday and Thursday night were to be cancelled. After receiving a warning earlier this year about their misbehaviour, the boys continued to show misconduct.
It's been suspended for the rest of this term, pending kind of numerous instances of poor behaviour that we don't feel is unacceptable of university students. I'm sure you can kind of appreciate that it's quite a difficult thing for someone to come and to say kind of that they felt behaviour was unacceptable. So we'd like to keep kind of all kind of reports confidential.
Although the specific details of the misbehaviour have not been disclosed, it is clear that the boys' misconduct had crossed a line, which has raised questions about the future of any six-a-side action.
We would look to employ match officials so that hopefully teams can enter, they come up, they have a match schedule, they can play over the course of maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
According to the email, a new six-a-side football league, played at the weekends, will be introduced in 2015 for those students interested in playing in a supervised and organised league. We can only hope that the football boys do not again jeopardise the future of the much-enjoyed six-a-side friendly games. This is Olivia Marsden reporting for Buckingham News.
And now, back to the studio.
It's not every day that there's a fashion event in the centre of Buckingham. We got rather overexcited at the announcement of a competition for the best dressed guy in town. But then we remembered the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. Yes, it was that kind of guy. We sent Zoe Briggs to the old jail to check out more dummies than you usually find at 13 on a Friday night.
The Buckingham Best Dressed Guy competition returns to town on Saturday the 1st of November. Children under the ages of 16 are invited to bring a guide to the paving outside the Old Gold at 1 p.m. this afternoon.
Guy Fawkes Night is an annual commemoration observed on the 5th of November in relation to the gunpowder plot. The competition brings children together with their personalised effigies. The event came to town a weekend before the 5th, giving children an opportunity to participate and a reason for the people of Buckingham to gather and witness the celebration.
Mayor Lisa O'Donoghue commented on this year's turnout.
The event didn't have as many entrants as last year, which is a surprise because it's a really nice day. Yeah. So I think we only have 3 people take part this year. For the group one, there was only 1 entrant for that, so that was easy. But for the individual, there was 2, and they were both very, very similar. And you could see that the amount of work that's put into one the other one had equal amount of time spent on it, so that was really, really difficult.
The event today was certainly different from last year's event. Could this be as a result of lack of awareness? What does this mean for next year's event? This is Zoe Briggs and I'm from Buckingham News.
Last Friday, students and staff gathered at Woburn Abbey for the annual Lowball. It may have been Halloween, but there were no scary surprises as attendees enjoyed a glamorous evening toasting the Law Society. Federica Battiato couldn't resist getting dressed up and going along.
The Lowball is one of the most eagerly anticipated events in the social calendar for the law school, and this year was no exception.